Good morning. It is late May, and this is going to be a relatively quick garden walkthrough to hopefully point out some tips and tricks for things that are in the ground. So we'll jump right in and see how this goes. First thing off, I have cukes bordering my field. This has always been a tough spot because that field wants to move right in. So this is the first year I'm trying slabs from a sawmill as a perimeter, as kind of a weed suppression around the whole garden, and I'm particularly focused right here. I also, within the bed, did a layer of cardboard and then drilled through the cardboard, spread out the chips to plant the cucumbers. I'm hoping when they come up, they will also help shade out anything else that wants to move in. I've also read that alliums are good, alliums being like garlic, onions, are good at preventing grasses from moving in. They're a little too far in for it in this case, but anyway, garlic here is next. It's booming. That goes in the fall. Did a nice cover of, we actually use seaweed and straw or hay to mulch that area. I didn't remove any of it. The garlic just powered through in the spring, came right up. Next up is strawberries. These are awesome. I put in 3 varieties to try to get a harvest throughout the summer. Those came from Johnny's, and the way I did these was I did newspaper, straw, and then that was real easy because there's so many, just so you can, once it gets a little wet, you just peel the newspaper back. But it gives the strawberries a chance to get going before the weeds move in. I haven't really weeded that bed at all yet, and we'll see how it goes as summer kicks off. But pretty soon, the strawberries will be big enough I can come in and mulch in around them again. I think it's important to point out, like, the way I've built this garden is to try to minimize all maintenance during the summer. Maintenance being weeding. Like, I just don't want to have to weed as much. Also, under these beds, I have some, it's called soaker hose. It's really grown on me. I think I'm going to, over the years, build up my stock and just run a header down the whole length of the garden with little valves and stuff and lines going across. I want to build a permanent header. Getting a little off topic here, but anyway, having irrigation here I think is a big deal. Moving into my next one, this is the first time I've used row cover. I had broccoli under here, and all of my broccoli died. I believe it's because I wasn't watering it enough. I have replanted broccoli and in some other spots. I think I did some arugula in the far end this way. Something like really good with my camera work here, and some beets down on this end. And I have a soaker hose line going in here now. So hopefully that will, and it's warm enough now that will go. Oh, also what I did is use some landscaping fabric in some places here, and then put a hole in the fabric and plant in there. So you can see that's another tactic for weed suppression. And you'll also see I'm using a lot of these slabs and other wood going down what I'm calling the walk paths, and they're along the whole perimeter here. So I'm getting probably going to get a mixed feedback on those slabs. My thought is, like, if you ever pick up a slab, like, what do you see under there? Like, all sorts of life. That's kind of what I'm shooting for. And also, there's no way the grass can cut up through it. I'm just going to leave it in. Like, I don't know. We'll see how long. It'll probably last a few years anyway. And then over time, just feed a few more in. All right, let's keep moving here. There's a lot going on. All right, next up, squash. I've got spaghetti squash and butternut squash. Again, a big objective of mine was to grow crops that are going to last. So that's a big reason why I'm putting quite a bit of squash in here. And it depends on it's all relative, right? Like, maybe that's not a lot of squash. Under here is the cabbage. So this is another case for the row cover. All of the cabbage that did not go under a row cover, except for 2, died. The cabbage under the row cover is booming. So I think that's at least for my one case study, that was a good one for using row cover. I'll probably try to keep doing that. And also, again, irrigation. Those made it without any irrigation, but I'm going to try to get better at that. All right, there's just a few things here. Like some onions take 2 years to go to seed, so some of that popped up this year that I did not plan on, like I left them in the ground kind of by mistake. I just moved those over here so that they would come up, and I might consider grabbing some seed off them. This is really the last spot left to be planted. I just want to point out all this stuff over here. What I do is I'm doing the no-till now, and that always has mixed reviews. I'm a big fan. I did the Johnny's fall manure mix, and then I cut it down at the end of the year and just let it sit, and I blew a bunch of leaves onto the garden. And now when I, like, especially on the far end, as I would rake that stuff down, like, it was just teeming with life under there, and the soil was awesome. So I'm a super fan of that. And then what I do is I use a pitchfork as a broad fork, because I don't have a broad fork, to just loosen the soil where I'm going to plant. And that's the method I'm going on, and so far I really like it. Again, 1 year of experience, you know, like, I try to take everything with a grain of salt, learn as we go. I'm going to do tomatillos here. Erica Strauss has really got me hooked on fermenting, and she has a tomatillo salsa verde that I'm just really amped to try out. So this is the first year trying tomatillos. I'm doing black plastic mulch here, and I have a soaker hose going through the middle. That's pretty. It's a little bit of work to put in, not that much, but I'm really looking forward to that. Cardboard and wood chips along the walking path, and that has proven to work pretty well. Oh yeah, that's a good point. Like a lot of people say, like, the wood chips don't break down, or I don't know. Like, there's a lot of mixed reviews on that, or they steal the nitrogen. I've had good luck with them, and where I've used them on the field side, come the following year, I can't find a trace of the cardboard or the wood chips. So they absolutely break down. I think it just depends on application. What I'll do at the end of the year here is just, when I go to plant my fall mix this fall, I'll pull up the plastic. I'll just rake all the whatever is left of the wood chips around, and kind of plant into that. And I think the fall manure will continue to just break down those wood chips, and they'll just add to the soil. Think of that's another thing. Like when you pitchfork into a pile of wood chips that's been sitting for a little bit, there's a bunch of fungal activity and stuff in there, and I think there's a case to be made for putting wood chips in. Over the years, we will see if I'm wrong. All right, next up are the snap peas. They're banging. I really like I don't weed around these because I have these slabs lining that row, like, real nice. This is my, sorry, now the sun's coming up, which is nice. This row, that's all of the, well, not all of it, that's only some of the litter from last fall, and I just kind of piled it up, evened it out, and then dug through it to plant. We have basil, cilantro, kale, and spinach just alternated going down that row. Next up are some black plastic and tomatoes. Ooh, the sun's bright. I'm gonna alternate tomatoes and marigolds here. Marigolds apparently attract the beneficial insects. And then I have also soaker hose going through here. Peppers will be coming up here. I can't see whether or not my hand is going in the right row or not, but anyway, peppers. And then it slabs again, marking the rows, mulched in all around it. Any water that comes down is going to have a tendency to flow towards the holes for the plants. But even if it doesn't get enough, I got soaker hose in there. And the way it works with the soaker hose, like I have water, which you can't see, but I just pull the handle up a little bit, and like now I'm watering my plants, just a little drip where it needs to be. Like I really like that method. And if I build a different header, like what I'd like to get to is a water catchment with drip tape. But if I have a header built with some valves, I can just swap out the stuff. and pass my pay forward this this soaker hose somewhere, I hope. All right, we got beans, doing two different types of beans. We're doing green beans for summer deliciousness, and we're doing black beans for storage. Got two big rows of taters in. We're doing Yukons and reds. What I've done here is I've done a bunch in here. I dig a little hole, plant the seed potato in there, and then once they sprout up, I'm gonna even this out, and that'll be my really my first weeding. It'll get the potato a little deeper, and then I might bring in some material to mound up around it, or that might be as high as they get. Next up, we got two rows of onions, red and yellow. Again, my big thing is like growing things that will store. Like I'm kind of moving away from the exotics and the ornamentals, and really into the utilitarian stuff. Last row is carrots. I've always had a hard time with carrots, so I kind of tried to pull out all the stops. The one stop I didn't pull out was irrigation, and I wish I had. I kind of got I was slow to pick up on implementing my soaker hose. But what I did do is the black plastic, 3 seeds per hole, working down the line. And they have germinated and come up. I just need them to get a little steam and get ahead of everyone else, so I can weed in there without ripping them up. Okay, whew, thought that would be a little quicker than it was, but that is the annual garden as of spring. Thanks. I forgot to mention I have another row of stuff over here to include spinach, kale, beets and radishes, and lettuce and bogart. Okay, so this one is a little tougher because I have a fence to keep bogart out of the bigger garden, and he does not stay out of this one. So there's also no water over here, no irrigation, but there's my source for irrigation. Anyway, oh, and then I guess I do like cardboard on either side and chips, and then plant in the middle. I just really need them to get a head start. Stay out of there, bud. Okay, that's it.